crackheads. How is everyone today? What is good? Today we're going to do a review of the Honda CRF250 right there. Let's get to it. Lots of lessons learned during the first video, and I'll share a few thoughts on the first video and what we hope to change in this next one. First of all, 42 subscribers. Thank you so much. I love you all. You don't know how much it means to me. That's a great start. I got a lot of work ahead of me. I got to put out some more content and get this channel rolling. So let's see how it goes. Mistakes made. Wearing my glasses, my lighting is reflecting off of my glasses. That was annoying. 9 minutes of speech. That was annoying. That's too long. People aren't going to hang for the video to listen to you flap your gums for 9 minutes. So I'll break it up some. May do this servicing on the CRF250 over 2 videos because I don't want to get too long-winded and boring during the process. So thank you for hanging in there, and let's move forward. First thing I want to talk about is warming the bike up before you do a service on your motorcycle. This goes pretty much as a rule of thumb for all bikes. Don't just warm it up for 5 minutes in the garage, especially if it has an oil cooler on it, because it has to reach operating temperature to open up that cooler and get the oil to flow out of it. If you don't do that, it's going to retain the dirty oil inside the oil cooler and give you issues. The object is to get all the bad oil out of there and get some fresh all the way across the board inside the bike. To do that, what I recommend is take it out for a good 10-20 minute ride to get it up to full operating temperature. If it's midwinter and it's sub-cold temperatures, you may have to go longer. If it's like it is here today, it's 95 degrees here in my garage and I'm dying a slow death, 10-15 minutes, you're good to go. It should be pretty warm. Before you start your first oil change, the first thing you want to do is loosen and remove the oil dipstick, or also the valve where you fill it up with oil. In this case, it doesn't have a dipstick because I got a sight glass down below to check the level on the oil. The reason why we do this is so that it can breathe. So when we release the oil drain plug from down below, it can vent through and flow out a lot faster and smoother. So be sure you do that. Let's get started. We're going to start with a 12 millimeter socket. Bear in mind you also have your engine guard up underneath here that you don't have to remove to change the oil. We're going to get a ratchet on it. What you want to do is just get it loose enough and get your oil drain pan up underneath. And okay, forgot to put on my gloves. Be sure you use gloves. Keep the hot oil off your hands. It doesn't need to get into your pores and things like that. Seriously, it's a health issue. So take it serious. I buy mine in bulk at Costco, and they're as cheap as beans. They come in giant boxes for hundreds of pairs for not a whole lot of money. So makes it quite nice. Now what we're going to look for here is to see how dirty that oil is. I don't know if you can see here, but basically it doesn't look too hateful actually. And she's flowing out nicely. We're going to pause it there so we're not sitting here waiting on oil. Now while we're waiting for the last few drips to drip out of the oil, basically I want to talk about the drain plug. The standard one that comes from Honda, first of all, you should replace the washer every oil change, so the book says. That said, when it comes to aluminum or copper ones, I usually will flip it over and get a second use out of it, and I've never had an issue in decades. So let your conscience be your guide there, but they're cheap as beans. I buy them in bulk and keep a drawer full of them and just slap them on as I need them, so it's not a big deal. In this particular case, the Honda one doesn't come with the magnetic, so I ordered a Tusk. The Tusk is a I believe a house brand of Rocky Mountain ATV is where I ordered this from, and this is a magnetic drain plug, so if you get any shards of metal during the break-in period or whatever, it's a great measurement to see as you're doing your services and you pull the plug if there's any metal collecting on there, and it lets you know that you have an engine problem coming up in the near future, or lets you, hopefully catch it in the bud before it becomes a serious problem. So I highly recommend getting a magnetic drain plug. Okay, next up we're going to remove the oil filter because we're doing a full service this time. And there's, I'm going to use in this case an impact driver made by Milwaukee. This is a really slick item. However, use it with caution when tightening because it is so powerful. If you use it to drive in the screws, you will over tighten them and strip the holes out, and you went from a minor service to a major headache. So use that in mind. If you are not real in tune with using one, I highly recommend you use the old school, which is your standard ratchet wrench. So let's get to it. You can see oil is going to drip down as well, so make sure your drain pan is right underneath it as well. And inside here, you will find a spring that helps keep the oil filter lodged in place. Let's remove that. You can see it's fairly dirty, pretty black and nasty. Let's leave it there on the drain pan. Let it do its thing. And get a rag and just kind of wipe it out. You'll see a gasket in here. Again, you shouldn't reuse these. They're pretty cheap, so I would recommend replacing it. I did order a new one, and we'll install the new one. I mean, when it comes to maintenance, just do it right the first time. Don't cut corners, and you don't have any problems later on down the road when you get that precious time off to go for a ride, and instead you're dealing with issues of trying something breaking down and crapping out. Just don't cut any corners. Keep it real. I've got my parts. Here's the part number for the oil filter. You can pause the video and write it down if you need to. And there's the part number for the gasket should you need it. Okay, get your fresh bottle of oil and dip your finger in it. Just unloosen the cap and dip your finger in it and put some oil around that rubber seal that's going to go on the oil filter. And from there, we'll just pressure fit it. Make sure the rubber goes in towards the engine. We got our new gasket. And we'll line that up with our cover plate with the spring kind of wedged in there. And from there, just kind of finagle it on there and get some bolts started. It's always best to get your bolts started by hand first so you don't cross thread. I'm telling you, been there, done that, and bought the t-shirt. Don't cross thread bolts on your motor. It'll leads to a nightmare to try and repair. So please keep that in mind. So okay, we're going to torque down these bolts that hold on the oil filter cover. And the manual says they should be 7 foot-pounds of torque, 10 newton meters. If there's anything you should buy in your life, be sure to buy a decent torque wrench. The torque wrench is absolutely critical on getting these bolts to the right spec, meaning that you're not going to have oil leaks going down the road because you didn't tighten this one enough and you tighten this one too much, so it kind of makes it off canter and that type of thing. I recommend that you tighten them much like you would when you're putting on a spare tire on a car. Start somewhere, do the opposite, do the opposite, do the opposite. So kind of a crisscross type method. So let's get this. Okay, we're going to end the video there. This one's getting long. My goal is to try and keep the videos around 10 minutes. I have already completed the service. I'm going to do some footage here at the end before I do my closing. And hope you enjoyed. I did some off-road, back roads, fire roads on the Wii ADV. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for watching.
Woohoo! And remember, folks, go riding 'cause it's good for ya!